trying to see stage, asking when we'll eventually get product.
Hello? Hello? Oh no. Please just. Oh wait, we lost you for a few seconds there.
No, I said yesterday I was trying to see stage. Whether she had that information as to when product will start to leave the Dangote refinery. And to the glory of God, yesterday we got the information. Announcement was made that diesel supply to local markets that started from the Dangote refinery. And that our local marketers who were already registered with the refinery were already listing at least a maximum of 1 million liters, which is a good one. So I think congratulations, Nigeria. I must say that maybe gradually we're getting back to the era of functional refineries in Nigeria, so that we can have local production of our products, and then hopefully plan towards ending importation of refined products into the country. So I think that's a more comforting, good news, I must say, that came yesterday. I'm sure some of the papers will have that report.
Well, it is okay, carry on.
But while we're celebrating that, the issue of electricity tariff also came up. Nigerians, they have to pay up to begin to pay more. 200% increment is on the line. It's most likely going to come. So, while we're celebrating the fact that, look, the refinery of the Dangote has come, have started to produce, we are getting the report that, look, there are plans to increase electricity tariff by about 200%. So, again, good news somewhere, bad news somewhere for Nigerians. Whatever it is, life must go on.
Thank you very much, Said, for that. I mean, that's the major headline on the front page of the Punch. That is fuel discussion and Dangote, or as regards Dangote dropping diesel. Yes, exactly. And also I don't know, for electricity, I honestly don't know. We had a conversation yesterday in Situation Room. I honestly don't know the way forward or the way backward or the way sideways that NERC or the federal government is going with the way people are paying for darkness, and the fact that the federal government just keeps threatening revoking licenses of these people, and we still don't get anything at the end of the day. But then I think it all boils down to what Fuad will always say, which is unbundling the national grid. Whether or not there is the will to actually do that, we'll get to find out in recent days to come. So now let's move on to the major headline on the front page of the Punch newspaper, which is diesel price drops as Dangote sells 1,225 naira per liter, supplies petrol by May next month. I don't know, Fuad is a little bit excited about that. I've not seen Fuad excited about anything in recent times, but
anything that will make the lives of Nigerians better.
I would be more excited when I hear something about the Dangote, the Port Harcourt refinery. I think that's where my own excitement will come.
No, we have April timeline for that. So we're still waiting for that.
It's too early. It's just the third day. It's okay. It's right. Dealers get 1 million liters each at 1,225 naira per liter. Price drops in Oyo, Lagos, and Ogun. So let's look at the stories on page 2 of the Punch newspaper. So very quickly, the pump price of automotive gas oil, popularly called diesel, has dropped from about 1,700 to 1,350 in some locations across the country, following the sale of the commodity by the Dangote Petroleum Refinery. And it was gathered on Thursday that the refinery started pumping out diesel to the domestic market last Wednesday, and it sold a minimum of 1 million liters to each registered oil marketer that got the product from the plant since it commenced diesel sale. So as it is now, it's also gathered that the refinery would start releasing PMS, Premium Motor Spirit, to the domestic market in May this year. They started pumping out diesel to marketers since last week. They also promised to sell aviation fuel soon. And some members have confirmed after making the purchase that some members of IPMAN, that's Independent Petroleum Marketers Association. So some marketers have started getting the product. But as an association, we have not got the product yet because we want to get the actual rates that it will be sold to us when we get in bulk. However, they have started selling diesel to some of the marketers. and they are selling it at 1,225 naira per liter. That's what they are selling. So as regards price drop, when also asked the minimum volume as it is now, in many locations across the Federation, the prices are beginning to drop due to the emergence of products from the Dangote refinery. Now you can get diesel in some locations for as low as 1,400 naira per liter, and some are even doing as low as 1,350. All right. And on whether the company informed dealers when it will start releasing petrol, Dangote said it would be available between now and May, which is next month. And there's optimism that, PMS is largely used even more than diesel. So that should, one way or the other, have its own spiral effect as well on prices in the local market. All right. We also have the fact that there's exportation as well. That's another thing. Commencement of diesel sale in Nigeria would also going out as it is now. Although when asked, let me put it this way: when asked the turn of a net exporter of fuel to other West African countries, which is supposed to be a potential shift and all, there's no report yet from Dangote as regards, there's no comments yet from Dangote as regards, the exportation of it. But then the good news is Dangote is pushing out diesel now. We're expecting PMS soon, and it already has its effect on the local market. But then, Fuad, going forward, with Dangote, pushing this out now, shouldn't this, be some sort of announcement, for lack of better words, to the federal government as regards, local refineries and the importance of local production?
Well, and I think that's already the know. I don't think anybody. Now, the issue of Dangote refinery, I think we should be a bit careful. It's not El Dorado yet, and I'll tell you why. It is good that at least we have some form of glimmer of hope that at least Nigeria can return to the glory days where we're able to produce crude oil and also refine for local production, local consumption. But if you look at the Dangote refinery around here, they can't just be the Dangote refinery because it doesn't have the capacity to focus on the local market and take care of our local needs. That's why other refineries have to come up soon. Hopefully if our four, all refineries can also get on board. It will also be nice if we can get some modular refineries working. So we have a situation where supply sufficiency is assured when it comes to local production, PMS, diesel, jet, A1, and other petroleum products. And then we can now begin to look at the possibility of exporting those products to now begin to have some what I call organic inflow of forex into the foreign exchange market. As we're looking at exporting crude, we're also looking at exporting refined products. You understand? Because again, what it will do is to assure some form of liquidity as far as forex earnings is concerned. But on Dangote refinery, Sandra, how long it took us to arrive at this point? That refinery was commissioned as far back as May 2023. Just few days from now, it would have been 1 year without it producing anything. But luckily, I think the 1 year thing didn't want to happen. So eventually, in April, we got in the announcement that look, it's now supplying to the local market. This is the question, Sandra, for me. Now, what will be the policy of that refinery when it comes to export and the supply to the local market? Because again, the indications are that their major focus will not be the local market really, if you understand what I'm saying. I think the only thing we can talk about is our 20% share of that refinery, which was procured by the NNPC with a $2.5 billion deal. The NNPC got 20% of that refinery. Now, Sandra, that entire refinery is about 600,000 capacity on a daily basis. The question again is that, look, how are you going to ensure food supply to that refinery now? Sufficient and consistent food supply to that refinery. If it took us, remember what it took us to supply 6 million barrels of crude oil to that refinery. On a good day, Sandra, on a very good day, 6 million barrels of crude oil to a refinery that has a capacity of 650,000 barrels per day should just be about a 10-day thing. It should have done that in just 10 days. You understand? So that question is still there. It's still hanging on the Dangote refinery and our capacity to be able to supply consistently crude oil to that refinery? Do we have the capacity? Are we producing enough crude? So that we don't wake up tomorrow and say, oh, there's a problem with crude supply. Dangote he has decided to now import crude, and then because it is importing crude, the issue of price becomes a problem. So there are still a lot of questions we need to answer as far as crude supply is concerned, as far as the working model of the Dangote refinery is concerned. But I think what we should be talking about is that, look, it cannot just be Dangote refinery alone. Yes, it's a good way to start to now begin to have local production of petroleum products. But the Port Harcourt refinery should work. The two refineries, the old and new Port Harcourt refinery should work. The Warri should work. Kaduna should work. And we should also activate and get functional people who have licenses of the modular refinery. The more the merrier, Sandra, if you understand what I'm saying. And at that point, too, when we have these refineries, we can begin to have some form of competition. And then we can begin to talk about market forces, the forces of demand and supply, and all of those kind of things. Sandra, we are an oil-producing nation, so our story should be different from Benin Republic. It should be different from Togo and other countries who don't have the product. So, again, it's a good way to start. That's why I'm excited that at least after all said and done, better late than never. These have started, but there's still a long walk to our freedom. I keep using that word. Freedom from economic oppression, freedom from what I call inefficiency in government and corruption. So let's see how this goes. But I think it's a good news. We can begin to build on this one and see how it goes.
Thank you very much. Just as it is, there's a lot of optimism in the air as regards that particular one. We can't wait for PMS to come out as well, which they said between now and May. That's the story. It's on page 2 of the Punch newspaper. Diesel price drops as Dangote sells 125. No. 1,000.
Well, for the price of diesel, Sandra, I don't know, because again, some of my own personal findings, at least in some parts of Lagos, have shown that diesel is getting sold at around 1,400, 1,500 naira per litre. Again, it's too early, really, to begin to say the effect that's taking place immediately. I begin to talk about reduction in price. But whatever it is, it's something that we can begin to celebrate at home for better days.
Thank you. So I think we mentioned it earlier that it's just in some parts of the country it varies. The price varies. It has always varied. We don't buy for the same price. We buy here in Lagos. We buy same in Ogun State, in the north and all. So I mean, but what we have so far is that there is an impact that it has had, no matter how small, no matter how big. But what we have so far is that some marketers, that's of the independent petroleum marketers, have had access. They've been able to purchase. They've been able to get. Although IPMAN hasn't gotten in bulk for them to be able to distribute to their members. But then what we have so far is that some marketers have gotten diesel from Dangote. More details to come in the future. Stories on page 2. That's the major headline on the front page of the Punch newspaper. All right, we also have here, right on the front page of the Punch, disconnection. UCH doctors suspend night shift. Begin strike on Tuesday. And that story is on page 31 of the Punch newspaper.
Very unfortunate story. Very, very unfortunate story.
The sad one.
All you see to be blackout. I think I'm looking at people who are admitted in that hospital now. Because I think that's the biggest hospital in your state. And then people with serious ailments who are on admission. Well, what are they going to do now?
So the UCH, that's University College Hospital, Ibadan, or your state, has admitted that yes, it owes IBEDC, that's Ibadan Disco, up to 495 million naira, for which reason, they were disconnected from public power supply. And this is as doctors, nurses, and other staff of the hospitals have refused to work beyond 4 p.m. unless power is connected. So what we have from UCH Public Relations Officer, Mrs. Funmilayo Adetoibi, confirmed in an interview that the hospital's electricity debt was over 400 million, which is contrary to her initial claim. But let's move past that. Anyways, giving reasons for the disconnection, Ibadan Disco has said they disconnected the hospital after attempts to engage with the hospital's management, which they said has persisted over 6 years. I don't know where to, tilt towards now. Should we look at the hospital? Why are you not paying this money? Or should we look at Ibadan Disco? The fact that there are lives at stake here. I mean, what's your analysis of this, Fuad?
No, well, again, when it comes to these distribution companies claiming that people are owing them, I have my own reservation. Because again, a lot of these debts that they keep claiming, this money they keep putting on people, when you query, you find that they don't even deliver the service in the first place. Unless they are telling me that the entire UCH is on prepaid meter. You understand? And if it's on prepaid meter, then there won't be the issue of debt. You don't pay, you don't use. So if it's on this, they are this corrupt estimated billing, then nobody's going to pay them that kind of money. Because again, the calculations are fraught with all manner of corruption and confusion. You understand? So we need to know what the billing system is really with the UCH for them to have said, okay, they are owing as much as 100 million naira. But again, the management of the office also have questions to answer. Because again, we keep asking ourselves, are there budgets, are there monetary provisions to pay these things? Things as electricity bill and all of those kind of things. If they have money to pay these things, why have they not paid? Why are they owing? So the management of the hospital also have questions to answer, because I'm sure that there are internally generated revenue. There are people who pay for different kind of things in that hospital. And there are also government monies that go into the hospital. So why are they owing that much?
You have gone into internally generated revenue of the hospital. Whereas we have here the PRO of UCH, Mrs. Adetouibi, is calling for help. According to her, I'm quoting now, the truth of the matter is that we are owing Ibadan Disco and we need help. Help is the main thing. We are soliciting for funds. Help is what we need. So that's what she's saying now, that they need to look for money in order to pay off. And I'm going to ask this question that, I mean, if Ibadan DC was going to disconnect them, they wouldn't just come one day and just cut them off.
It's been lingering. I think there's been a back and forth.
Exactly. Yeah. So why was there no sit down negotiation? Okay, we can only pay this amount. We can't pay this amount. Shouldn't these things come up? Because for her, I mean, let's also look at it from this view. The discourse have been, complaining that it's not just, private people, private individuals or private consumers. We even have our wonderful, amazing, federal house is also owing. We have ministries, we have departments, agencies that are owing, these discos. And you will say it's money that is the vehicle of is the wheel of.
No, I understand what you say about agencies, institutions owing and not paying. Recently we also talked about the military barracks too. Yeah. The police barracks not paying, and you ask yourself, who is the distribution of free company official that will go to the barracks and collect their life now? Who is going to try and do that? So, but again, two-way conversation here, Sandra. One, right. What is the billing system for these institutions?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Why can't they even be on prepaid meter? I mean, why can't they choose the option of being on prepaid, so that if you don't pay, they don't use the line? And if they are on this post-paid kind of billing system, the estimated billing, how they been billed, how did the debt accumulate to over 400 million? And then, of course, we need to ask the hospital too, is it that there are no monies at all to take care of these things, or there are some people who are just chopping the money? Because it's government institution, they don't let the money just there. Somebody will come and inherit the debt. So it's still all the corruption, the confusion that we have been talking about. But it's sad, it's unfortunate that, look, a hospital as big as the UCH is in darkness. You understand? That's why we say that, look, if our government officials use those facilities, that facility can be in darkness.
No.
It's because it is the poor people that go there. The less privileged people, the poor people that go into those facilities, that's why they can leave it in darkness. Again, yes, that's why they can leave it in darkness. It is the poor people. So just imagine people on admission, people who have surgeries, who have surgeries to take care of. And then if the doctors and nurses are now not working beyond 4 p.m. So those on admission, what happens to them after that? What they will likely be doing is that, look, their families will now be paying some nurses to be on duty on their behalf.
To please be ill.
Yeah. That's what will happen. So you have to now pass it for money, but they say, look, we are not working beyond 4 p.m. So if you want me to stay beyond 4 p.m., you have to do something. So it's all messed up, baby. The whole UCH Ibadan in darkness because they can't pay electricity bill. It's because the so-called elites don't use that place. It is for the poor. And I'm sure that nobody cares about the poor. At least for that story.
All right. Thank you very much for the stories on page 31. Very quickly, we also have here on the front page of the Punch, court finds Ogun CP, Commissioner of Police and 5 others, 25 million naira for unlawful detention. That's on page 5 of the Punch newspaper. I also have here, but just by the masthead, Akinteriwa Okefume and Ondo APC elders endorse Aiyedatiwa, and that's on page 14. So I'll just leave that for side forward by 1 p.m.
Okay, we'll look at that story by 1 p.m.
Yes, yeah, I'm not going to say much. But that's as regards Ondo elections coming up by November this year. Stories on page 14. We also have above the masthead here, federal government and Interpol in talks over Binance chief extradition. That's on page 41. And that conversation still goes on. And we can get more details there. Naira sells below 1,280 per dollar at official and parallel markets. Also on page 31 of the Punch newspaper. And that's what we're taking from the Punch. You're listening to Trends in the Papers on Mainland 98.3 FM. We're looking through major stories on the front pages of our dailies. I'm moving on now to the Guardian newspaper. Don't forget we're live on Facebook and YouTube. Please do well to join the conversation. Major headline on the front page of the Guardian. Federal government finalizing electricity subsidy removal. Plans 200% tariff hike. So what we have here is a little bit disturbing. So I'll just try to be as, a
little bit disturbing or very disturbing.
as sensitive as possible. So we have rising energy costs. We have gas issue. We also have grid issue. And under NERC's 2024 tariff order,
what you call a tripartite problem.
Yes, it's a serious issue in our energy sector now. And it's a bigger one where we have the fact that we are still, grasping with the consequences of the subsidies gone statement. And now we are also looking at electricity subsidy, being taken off. Because the last time we had this conversation, I think it was 65% subsidy payment. And this is, on blackouts. Well, I don't know. I really don't know where we go with this one, Fuad, because there's no lights. The grid has collapsed over 40 times in the past 4, 5, 6 years. In 2024 alone, it has collapsed about twice or so, or 7 times or so. So there are indications that the president in the coming days will direct the NERC, that's the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission, to implement the 2024 multi-year tariff order, which could raise current tariffs by close to 200%. And this is coming on the heels of an increase in the price of natural gas. And this could increase the burden on households and reduce the buying power of Nigerians who are already grappling with multiple challenges. The problem no dey finish, basically.
Yeah. Anyway, most of our power generation installations are from thermal gas, installations.
Yes.
And now that the price of gas is going up and all of that, that's the reason why, of course, the Guardian is looking at the possibility of electricity tariff going up as much as 200%. Again, that's a big problem, and I'll tell you why. Because again, one of the reasons why a lot of Nigerians are complaining at this time, it's not even the price of PMS alone. Energy costs have become a big problem. You understand? That's even when it is available.
Mm-hmm.
The third part of the conversation is that, look, the thing is not even available and you are paying this much. When it's available, it's not affordable because we'll have to pay loans.
Hello? All right. I don't know. That has happened again. So let's try to see if we can reconnect with Said Forhad. This is Trends in the Papers on Mainland 98.3 FM. And we are currently looking through the major story on the front page of the Guardian newspaper, which is as regards electricity tariff. We have riders here. Cost push inflation looms, says energy economists. More burden for economy industry over high cost. So with this now, we already have businesses struggling under, the removal of fuel subsidy. And then now we are looking at a possibility of even power tariff going as high as 200%. All right. I think we have... Hello?
Yes, I'm with you.
Oh, okay. Yes, you're back. All right.
Well, again, because again, this subsidy on electricity is a very controversial issue. The government is insisting that look, subsidy is being paid on electricity. If I want to tell you that whatever you think you are paying on electricity now, about close to 70% of that money is being taken care of by government in the form of subsidy. So when you ask yourself, why are we subsidizing that? Because again, where is the service? Where is the power supply to begin to talk about over 1 trillion naira subsidy payments in 1 year? Standard. That's the big question. And if you look at the move and the position of even the body language of the Minister of Power, Mr. Adelabu has, I think, consistently said that there's a need to do away with subsidy on power supply. And I think that's what the government wants to do now. And again, the implications are going to be there. Businesses are already struggling when it comes to energy costs and all of those kinds of things. But the argument from the government side would be that, look, if we're able to do this, there'll be more money to invest in the power sector and then ensure that there's a better service to it. Whatever it is, Nigerians will have to grapple with this increase in power supply, in cost of power supply. And it will have telling the effect of businesses, on individuals, on the living standards of the people. And if you like you asked, there was a question, where are we going with this one now? We are going with more suffering, more poverty for the people. That's where we are going. If that happens.
Well, there's also, we have here that electricity subsidies stood at about 5.4 trillion naira in the last 10 years. And since President Tinubu came to office, the subsidy for electricity has risen to nearly 1 trillion in 9. And it's projected to even go as high as 2 trillion this 2024.
What are we subsidizing when it comes to electricity? How? These vague figures, I call to question the level of transparency in the power sector when it comes to this issue of subsidy. That was the same conversation with the petroleum sector. We just got, the thing started from about 600,000, then it moved from 600 million, it moved to about 700 million. Then we started dealing with trillions, then it became 4 trillion, and then it became a problem. The same thing is happening with this so-called subsidy on electricity. Now we are talking about over 1 trillion naira since the president came in. What exactly are we subsidizing? How are we subsidizing? And where is the subsidy going really when it comes to the power sector? Those are questions that we really don't have complete answers to. The only thing we are getting is that, look, there's subsidy. But Nigerians at the end, who are the end users, are saying that, look, you can't be paying subsidy when we are not even getting the service. It's all darkness everywhere. So what are you subsidizing?
All right, what we have here is Tinubu suspended service-based tariff, which was imposed by the previous government as it coincided with the removal of subsidy on PMS, which Tinubu later returned through the back door. But then what we have, I'm reading from the papers, please. Since the president suspended electricity subsidies last year, he has not been able to meet up with the shortfall, and that has impacted electricity generation, which is crippling grid performance to about 3,000 megawatts. I don't know how that tallies. What can you make sense of that? The
fact that we are doing 3,000 megawatts. You see, it's all modeled up. That's why I keep saying that, look, we need some level of openness and complete transparency on the arrangement we have in the power sector. You understand what I'm saying? There's a particular article, I think it was said, I shared it with, where a particular former minister, yes, I think former minister or special advisor to Goodluck Jonathan, was talking about how our political class hijacked the entire power sector during the days of advertising the power sector. It's basically talking about the GENCOs and the DISCOs. How there was a lot of interference from our enemies, the political class, and all of that. As we speak, Sandra, the entire installed capacity of Nigeria, as far as the grid is concerned, is not 13,000 megawatts. That's the entire installed capacity. That 13,000, we are doing just about 3,000 to 4,000 megawatts. And then you have a grid that recently a report is even talking about internal sabotage that keeps collapsing as a result of reported vandalism. That the report is saying that, look, there are internal collaborations to some of these vandalization we are seeing. So for me, look, we can continue to talk about whether there is subsidy or no subsidy, or people have to pay more or not pay more. justify the reason why Nigerians have to pay their loans for taxes and all of those kind of things. But I think at the end of the day, for us to get ourselves out of this quagmire, this entire web of confusion as far as the power sector is concerned, Sandra, we need to unbundle not even the grid. The entire thing to be unbundled, to be reviewed, and we have to do away with, because from the beginning, that been issue. When this privatization of the power sector started, it was all corruption. It was all political patronage. People that have no business in that sector, I just did that as the usual way of the Banana Republic. Let's just take everything for ourselves. The greed is the reason why we have a greed that keeps collapsing. That greed in us is the reason we have this greed that keeps collapsing. And as it is, since that arrangement is not working before, it's not working now, it's not working in the future. We have to do something completely different.
Thank you very much. The story is on pages 6 and 24 of the Guardian newspaper. Now, if we have to start looking at the figures, it is quite alarming. I mean, the difference between 2021, let's say, for example, diesel used to sell 33,000 liters of diesel for about 7 million in 2021, but now 30,000 liters of diesel is going for as high as 56 million, from 7 million in 2021 to 56 million in 2024. And the same goes for gas, where gas used to go for about 390 and now it's going for 1,500 basically. So there's I don't know what is coming, but I don't know if it's winter that is coming, but something is coming. And
you know what, Sandra? I think it's the Vanguard that has the story. I think the story is attributed to Mr. Tʀᴇ from London.
Yes.
Who are just advising the government on the reason why, despite the drop in forex, the price of goods and services has not. Yes, that look, despite the drop in the improvement in the naira against the forex, the dollars, price of goods and services have not dropped. If you look at the cost of energy, cost of transportation, logistics, and other factors, you understand why there's no corresponding drop in the price of goods and services, yes, despite the fact that the naira is standing up against the dollar. And apart from that, people are not even sure that this drop is going to be consistent and sustainable. So if you look at everything together, you see something that looks good on one side and the other side is all lamentation and problem. For business owners, it's not good days at all, Sandra. If you have to look at what business owners would have to continue to face, especially this energy cost, increase in tariff and all of these kinds of things.
All right, thank you very much. Yes, the story you mentioned, yes, it is actually on the front page of The Guardian, and it's on page 6, where Peter Obi, an economist, lecture Tinubu's government on how to reduce borrowing. That's the focus, but then somewhere in between there you can get the report Fuad is referring to, and the riders to that is ex-Anambra governor laments no corresponding visible usage or impact of loans, and forex alone cannot determine or is not a determiner of high commodity prices, says expert. I think that's where Fuad is coming.
The expert said a whole lot of things in that story. They gave insight into a very beautiful story, nice insight into why we have these high prices of goods and services in the country, despite the fact that there seems to be some improvement with the naira against the dollar.
Okay, so Fuad is heavily invested in this report, so let's dig deeper. So what we have in this from this particular report, a renowned energy economist, Professor Wumi Iledare, said increasing the price of natural gas for power has cost-push inflationary implications. The immediate impact, according to him, is the cost to generate power and the propensity to transfer the cost to the consumers, all right, which is high. So speaking further on the many implications, Iledare said there will be significant reduction of disposable income available to buy goods and services after paying for a lot of power, as well as purchasing power of money due to high inflation and all of that. So he said, and I quote, "The oil and gas sector under this scenario is not going to be better off, even though the increase in natural gas may lead to more gas for the power sector, but there will be more gas to buy with no buyers because there's currently a price elastic demand." All right. So evacuating the generated power at a high price may be limited for the discos. All right. And then we also have here, energy and business consultant Dan Kule noted that both electricity and gas sectors need the appropriate cost reflective tariffs, stressing that, like the power sector, gas investment is capital intensive. And according to him, Nigeria needs huge investment in all these if the country is to drive the power sector and the petrochemical industry. He said power depends so much on gas and is insisting that it's justifiable for the power tariff to go up. Then we also have electricity market analyst Larry Elatui said with the volatility in the exchange rate, it is expected that gas producers would increase their cost of production. He said, and I quote, "The implication on the power sector is obvious as gas is used to generate about 80% of electricity in the country. So the present end users tariff at using $2 as the cost of gas with increase to $2.42 and gas prices a pass-through cost." But then looking at all of this, basically cost implications and the takeaway of the purchasing power of people. Meanwhile, another economist, Chijioke Ikechukwu, has explained that forex is not the only determiner of higher prices of goods and services. The naira has been fluctuating, and he has said that the crash of the dollar being experienced currently at the official market might not have a significant effect on the prices of commodities. He said, and I quote, "Traders still have stock of goods bought at a high exchange rate. The naira only gained traction in the last 2 weeks. It is a short period, therefore, to ascertain stability. Fear of forex instability will also make traders retain old prices." Secondly, forex is not the only determiner of high prices. High cost of petroleum products such as diesel and petrol are major determinants. Scarcity of food as a result of insecurity in the north, where we have more farming activities, is also another determinant, among others. So he noted that prices of petroleum products are determined by external sources beyond the control of government. And according to him, these are exchange rate and global oil price. So I think I've been able to, highlight FUA's investment in this particular report as regards the corresponding impact of energy policies, insecurity, and global policies as well. The story,
I think it captures it all. I just wanted our listeners to, at least benefit from this story. They can actually buy the Guardian paper to read the complete thing.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
So on pages 6 and 24 of the Guardian newspaper. Moving on now very quickly. NLC TUC closed ranks on minimum wage. And that's on page 3 of the Guardian newspaper. Very quickly, NLC and TUC have forwarded a joint demand to the tripartite committee negotiating the new national minimum wage, and this was reached at a meeting which took place at NLC headquarters, presided over by NLC President Joe Ajaero. So what we have now is that they have adopted a common ground in all key areas, and they've submitted their demands to the Wage Commission through the National Tripartite Committee.
Thank God they are now working together. That's good. That's good news for at least workers who are represented by organized labor. Because I thought that, look, if they don't work together, it'll be a problem. So it's good to hear that they are now working together. They have been able to achieve a common ground and approve their position to the tripartite committee. So we'll wait to see what to come out of that. The minimum wage is supposed to start in April, standard. The new one is supposed to take effect from April. Here we are in April, we are still negotiating.
Yes.
It will be bad, there will be their win now.
We'll have back. That's unfortunate. All right.
But the question is, what are these people going to pay? What will be paid eventually? That's a big question.
I just feel like, irrespective of whatever.
Now, there's an interesting story. I think it's in the Guardian too. Wiki had a media briefing, and something very interesting is being said about river politics and politics generally. I don't want us to run away from that.
I think it's in the Guardian.
If it's not in the Guardian, it's in the Vanguard.
Yeah, when we get there. So that's why I'm trying to rush, as quick as possible. All right, still on the front page of the Guardian, Dangote $10 Adenuga Rabiu make Forbes richest list amid naira devaluation. So that's on page 2 of the Guardian newspaper. All right, and that's all we can take from this. Weak confidence in economy ends first quarter as business battle inflation and forex crisis. That's on page 15 of the Guardian newspaper. And it is still trends in the papers on mainland 98.3 FM. Time check right now is 8:25 a.m. So very quickly in the last few minutes that we have, let's see what we have on the front page of Vanguard. The major headline, anguish as 30 children and others get kidnapped in Katsina, Zamfara, Delta. 1,087 Nigerians kidnapped in March 2024. Is it this March that we just finished now? Wow.
Yeah. Are you shocked?
Bandits kill man, abduct wife and neighbor in Zamfara. Disrupt prayers at mosques and abduct worshippers. Zamfara government restricts movement along Katsina and Sokoto borders. Gunmen kidnap 2 varsity students in Taraba. Herdsmen kidnap 2 and baby in Delta and demand 15 million naira ransom. So insecurity, for just like 2 seconds, please.
No, the story sticks to the issue. There's really nothing to add. Okay, this what the report does is just aggregate the issues the way they are, and it speaks for itself. There's really nothing to add. It just shows us where we are when it comes to the issue of insecurity.
Yeah, look at that. That's very unfortunate. All right, let's move on. I think I sounded a little bit insensitive there. But still on the front.
What would I have said?
No, I said I sounded insensitive when I said let's move on.
We will move on. What are we going to do?
I said I sounded Elizabeth.
Okay.
Let's move on. All right, but then still on the front page of Vanguard newspaper, we have here why I fell out with Odili. That's coming from Wiki.
I want you to read the story very well, Osada. This thing is out. Just read what he was saying. I want you to read what Wiki was saying.
Okay.
If people didn't listen to that interview.
It's a media chat. It was a media chat. All right. Former governor of Rivers State, Nyesom Wike, has said he no longer had a smooth relationship with one of his predecessors, Peter Odili, because of some political differences. And he also lambasted some leaders of PDP in the state for supporting Siminalayi Fubara, his predecessor, describing them as political buccaneers, quote unquote. So, when he was asked if his relationship with Odili has gone frosty, he said, and I'm quoting, "As it is today, politically, we don't have a good relationship. We don't work together." On the rationale for the cold relationship, he said, "There are some political differences. For me, we are finished with this stage. It does not mean that in the next stage, we'll be in the same camp. No, he took a decision. I took a decision." So the minister said despite his political differences with Odili, he still considers him a father figure, though he did not clearly explain what he meant by political differences. That's very ambiguous, though. But then Wike also, although the rift between Odili and Wike might be the connection or a fallout between Wike and Fubara, who is facing impeachment threats by the State House of Assembly. But then Wike has also slammed some leaders of the PDP in the state.
I want you to read what he said about those leaders. As
political buccaneers for declaring support for Fubara. PDP leaders in Rivers State, Abie Sekibo, ex-PDP national chairman Uche Secondus, ex-governorships aspirant Celestine Omehia, and ex-lawmaker Austin Opara had last week declared support for Fubara and called on the president to caution Wike. So reacting to this, Wike describes Sekibo, Secondus, Omehia, and Opara as expired politicians who are not worthy to be called elder statesmen. He claimed they were all irrelevant as he kicked them out of the party, insisting that Secondus was no longer a member of the PDP as his suspension was validated by the court. I said, and I quote, "The other day I saw a political conference organized by transactional politicians, political vampires, political buccaneers. Do you know who is called an elder statesman? An elder statesman is someone who must have integrity, who must not be here today and be there tomorrow. Today they are not only serving a boy, but they are also waiting for him on the road. Do they have integrity? The same people who said this governor was a neophyte, how can they bring themselves to support him?" We've run out of time for just a few seconds.
All the things he said about those leaders, has he looked at himself? Is he not looking at himself in the mirror?
Are you saying report calling kettle black?
He's even worse than report calling kettle black.
Right.
All of the things. Okay, if he says people that have integrity, does he have political integrity? Is he still a member of the PDP? He said, if you want to be an elder statesman, you must not be here today and be there tomorrow. Where is Wike now? The same Wike that called APC cancer. He's not of nothing with the cancer. Look at all the things he said.
Yes. Well, thank you very much for that. I look forward to this conversation by 1 p.m. On Midweek Politics. I look forward to this particular conversation because it is actually an interesting turn of events, because the big question here is, where is Wike himself? Is Wike still a member of the PDP? What exactly does he mean by political difference when he's referring to
he has no loyalty, no respect to anybody but himself. He's the Mr. Know It All.
So we look forward to that. By 1 p.m. join Said Fuhad and his team as they discuss that. I also have here very quickly, we must decentralize Nigeria now, says Nwachukwu and Peterside, and that's on page 9 as well of Vanguard newspaper. So we can get other stories from that one. We have run out of time, so we'll take a very short break. I'll be back by 8:40 for Mainland Focus, where our dear listener will get to be part of the conversation. Apologies, I had to rush through the last minutes of the show, but stay with us. We'll be right back.
You're listening to the soft sounds of 98.3 Mainland FM. Easy listening wherever, whenever.
Are you a real estate developer in Lagos? Do you want to see the business of real estate development done to global best practices? Are you eager for a more cordial relationship